Take two. Cut.
Take two.
Cut.
I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
All right, follow me with this.
But they've been using their power to obstruct and stop justice from taking place.
You want to pray us out?
I do.
We'll pray for Tina. And let's have conversations about what truth is. The big, beautiful bill, the most monumental bill in the history, has gone through. I don't actually know how I feel about it. But you have some pretty good stuff that you were talking about directly related to this, Matt.
As much as I've given this bill a hard time, for some reason I feel, and I've given it a very hard time, I've been extremely hard on it. And we still will be on certain parts of it. But I can't help but to feel a lot of excitement right now because of one particular thing. And that is the fact that now, for the first time in the history of our country, we're devoting serious resources to deportations and to border security. That's never happened before. $150 billion approximately is going to go to that now, with a B. For context, in the last administration, about $3 billion went to it. So now, and I'm talking about the Trump administration, the last Trump term was $3 billion. So we're at 100x, close to, on some categories, we're at a 50x in total, and that's for the total versus just for this year. So we're going to see massive deportations. We have a clip of Hakeem Jeffries. He's being the best salesman for it, and we're going to go into all the details on this. It's going to be a pretty good show today. Lots to talk about. Go ahead and play A1. This is Hakeem Jeffries on the big, beautiful bill. And we're going to criticize it too. We're going to go into the bad stuff too, but take a look at this.
Speaker, that's not what this country should be all about. Manu wasn't the only one. The only American citizen who's been targeted by the deportation machine, a deportation machine that will be unleashed on steroids by this one big ugly bill. We know that, in fact, is the case.
The big, ugly bill. It's a big, ugly bill, according to him. Okay, so here's my problem. We don't actually know how much this bill is going to cost. It doesn't give us a firm number when they run the actuarian on this. It's going to cost about $1.5 trillion in a deficit over the first 2 years. $1.5 trillion. But these are just budget numbers. Yeah, they're going to spend $150 billion on the border. But if you remember, Doge found an entire group of people with computers that weren't set up, connected to anything, where they could at will just give away money. So how much money are we really in debt? Is it real? Is the $31 trillion that we have a real number? Or is it just meant to be the sky is falling for Americans? Keep in mind, during 2020 and 2021, we printed 25% of all currencies that exist out there. We printed another 25%. And in 2023, we printed another 20%. So literally almost 50% of the actual dollars we had in this country, we just went and told the Treasury, just print us some more money. And then they gave it to all their friends. And they created these contracts and created these. Well, I don't think we understand how this works. Are we actually in debt $31 trillion?
You know, the thing about it is we're going to see AI taking over most industries. We're going to see the ability to produce crops and other things very rapidly and very cheaply. So what does debt really mean in a world where most things are able to be gotten with very little resource trade in exchange for them? That's what's coming. Robots are going to take care of most of the work that makes the things that we want expensive. And at that point, including the medical industry, by the way, you're going to pay way less than you ever have in 10 years for medical and for other things. So there is this idea, this concept that maybe, just maybe, they have an idea that in 10 years, none of the debt's going to matter because we're going to be a type B civilization. We're going to be a much higher level of civilization. Now, I don't agree with that. And the reason why is because, first of all, it's going to take potentially longer than 10 years for some of those effects to come into place. And second of all, it does cause inflation now. There's a reason why you cannot buy, if you're young, a house that is nice and you can't start a home. You used to be able to get a medium-sized house at a young age relatively comfortably, even on one salary. You can't do that anymore. And there's going to be consequences.
That's because you keep less than 50% of what you make. I mean, 56 cents on every dollar goes to the government. So you get to live off 44%, where basically, just think about it this way. Everything that you touch is taxed. You don't own anything. If you don't pay your property tax on your home, they'll come take it from you. And now they're building entire neighborhoods. BlackRock is just gobbling them up and saying, single family homes, and saying you can rent this home from us, but we get to own it.
So in the bill, we have approximately 150 billion, yes, for immigration, but there's also a huge increase in military spending, which that is one of the main reasons this was able to even pass. The reason why they're doing it this way. So in order for a bill to pass through, you can do it once per year, have a big bill. If they did it in separate things, they wouldn't be able to pass it in the same way. And that is without needing 60 votes in the Senate. If you have 50 votes in the Senate, you have the majority in the House, and then you have the presidency, you have the ability to do this. Otherwise, we wouldn't be getting anything. If we had lost even maybe one more race, probably, maybe two, we wouldn't get any of this. So it's very fascinating to look.
So why aren't we getting rid of machines and mail-in ballots? Why are we not creating an institutional environment where people can feel confident in their vote? Why are we disallowing more than 50% of the people in this country on a system that doesn't make any sense? Yeah, we own all those things. And yeah, we just increased all the budgets on the military or defense spending. That's all true. Mm-hmm. Absolutely true. But okay, so let's go back to Hakeem Jeffries for a minute. During his speech, he went for 6 hours, by the way.
8 hours.
8 hours.
Yeah, he went. I think he broke the record actually for the longest speech on the floor.
Okay, so he said this. By the way, they kept feeding him more information. Did you see that? They kept giving him more papers to speak on. So he really didn't speak for 8 hours.
Do you think you could speak for? I think you could do it.
I could speak for 8 hours. I could speak for 8 hours,
yeah.
And never once somebody handed me a piece of paper. I could go through a bunch of stuff, but he did say he spoke on arguing that illegals should get Medicaid, excuse me, and that he talked about the fact that abortions are moral. This is how backwards we are. We debate the ridiculous, and that taxes should be raised on everyone. I don't know if any of you, left or right, that are listening to this podcast right now that would say, I need to pay more taxes because I need less money to feed my family. That's in essence what he's saying. Let's play it. Play two.
We are watching as the big, beautiful bill is just one successful House vote away from landing on President Trump's desk. But as we've been watching all morning long, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, he is holding up that final vote. He's been speaking on the House floor for about 6 hours now, and he's expected to keep going.
So at that point of that news clip, it was at 6 hours. He went another 2 hours and 44 minutes, totaling 8 hours and 44 minutes, supposedly breaking the record. Which is interesting. And by the way, a lot of people don't realize, in order to be in Congress, in order to be part of the House, sometimes you have to be there for 48 hours straight. That happens relatively often. So it is certainly a mentally draining job. That's why we don't have more people who are intelligent, who have integrity, who have talent, who are going and being in Congress, because they don't want to have to put up with all that stuff. So maybe that's one of the reasons why. But what do you think about this bill, Joe? Do you think it's a good thing that it passed overall? I mean, if they took more time, maybe something changes. They could have definitely made it better, though. There's a lot of things they could have done to make it better. Why didn't they? They had the ability to put in stuff for mail-in voting and for machines and for ballots. They could do that.
Is there money that is put in there for foreign entities?
Big time, especially a certain country in the Middle East.
So we gave a bunch of money to Israel because they should get free money. We're in a slave state. I don't know how to look at it any other way. We literally are in a constant perpetual state of slavery.
We are. And put me on cam 3 if you don't mind, Austin, because I like that angle a little bit better. But right now we're also seeing Demos falling asleep during his speech. We're seeing politicians falling asleep. They're trying their best. This was barely passed. We barely got it through. And I say we, keeping in mind Elon Musk is still probably going to start the America Party. Keeping in mind this will significantly burden us with more debt. Maybe in a year from now we can start to fix that. This is first step. Like I'm hoping it's 3D chess. I'm hoping Trump gave Elon a call and said, all right, yeah, we're going to be passing this big bill, but next bill, so we're going to get all this stuff in, get them to vote on it, get them to agree to it by offering money to their donors and stuff. And then the next bill next year that we pass, we're going to take all of that back and keep all the good stuff. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was the play that he's trying to go at, because how do you justify being this far into debt and lowering taxes on Social Security, which, yes, that is deserved. If you're on Social Security, you shouldn't have to pay taxes on that. It's ridiculous. But at the same time, young people can't afford homes and we're $37 trillion in debt. So we can't both have that and be $37 trillion in debt. Someone has to lose because of how bad of a job they've done. And so at this point, you really can't be taking away taxes in order to benefit one group over the other. It has to be either all across the board, take down taxes for everyone equally, or you have to reduce spending. Those are the only two options.
I don't. Again, I want to be really clear. I don't think that what we're seeing happen right now holistically in the United States is necessarily bad for us. I don't think that passing a bill. By the way, passing a spending bill. When's the last time before this one? When was the last time that a spending bill actually got passed?
That's a good question. I mean, it's been. We've had spending bills get passed every year, but normally they're fully compromised, right? Is that the first time that we've seen really a president get almost everything they wanted in a bill? And I think it's been a while since we've seen that.
Let me just do it. Beautiful bill was passed. I think we did a continued resolution, right? Isn't that what they did before? Was a continued resolution? I think so. I think the bills that we had before were continued resolutions.
Yeah, for the most part. Which is why we kept going so far into debt. Once Obama said it to that point, it's been almost impossible to get off of it. And Trump isn't even getting off of it now, so we can't really say we've won yet. But at least, finally, the biggest thing in the bill, the only thing that really matters, if we can get the deportations done, that will save our country so much money that we will then potentially be able to come up with a plan a few years from now that will be able to save the country financially. That's really the only thing that matters the most in the bill.
Yeah. So how many people think that what you're seeing happen right now represents in the bill, or just in Congress, the people that you represent in Congress, how many people feel like Hakeem Jeffries represents them, or AOC, or Nancy Pelosi, or even I guess Mike Johnson's at least normal, right? But how many normal?
I don't know if I'll go that far, Joe. That's being a little bit too nice.
He did make fun of Hakeem Jeffries. Do we have that? Him making fun of Hakeem Jeffries? Yeah, let's play the part about him making fun of Hakeem Jeffries.
I thank the gentleman from Missouri. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, Ronald Reagan said one time that no speech should be longer than 20 minutes, and unlike the Democrat leader, I'm going to honor my colleague's time and be a little more brief than that, all right?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, Mike. We'll give you a little bit of credit there.
It was pretty good. He did talk about the big, beautiful bill. And he says that it wasn't written for the Democrat Party, the elites, or the media. It was written for the people. So I'm just going to tell you right now that I do not agree. If it was written for the people, you would have gotten rid of property tax. You would have made it so we had a flat tax, that we didn't have all of these rules where they can just claw into our communities and into our bank accounts and treat us as if we're institutional slaves. It would create parity between the elections that we have in this country and the people. So they would be able to trust on both sides of the aisle that win, lose, or draw, it represented the will of the people. That's what would happen if it was for the people. But he had something to say about it, and he says that, yeah, for absolutely it doesn't represent it. Here's what he had to say about it.
Hey, listen, how about all the wins for the president and this party? Here's just a sample from the last 2 weeks. The headline today will be, "The One Big Beautiful Bill Passes the Congress," okay? You got to hold your applause. There's too many wins. Are you tired of winning yet? No! Fourth jobs report in a row exceeds expectations. A sample of the headlines. Lowest monthly border encounters in U.S. history. We closed the border. Last couple of days, a new trade deal with Vietnam and all the countries of the world around the world lining up for that. UPenn agrees to ban biological men from women's sports. And they ought to give a personal apology to every female athlete impacted by that nonsense. Gas prices are at a 4-year low, my friends. The Air Force and Space Force both hit their 2025 recruiting goals 3 months early. Israel is agreeing to a 60-day ceasefire with Hamas. Successful strike on Iranian nuclear sites handles that problem. That's exactly right. Strength is back. America's back. It's resulted now in a ceasefire deal between Iran and Israel. The NATO countries are increasing their defense spending, not just 2%, 5% of GDP, okay? The president got in charge and got a Rwanda-Congo peace deal. The Supreme Court ended nationwide injunctions. How about that? That conservative majority on the Supreme Court also allows third country deportations. We've had a record high stock market, and we're signing a China trade deal. That's just the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks.
Okay, so let me just be clear about this. All that makes sense. All that's great. And President Trump is winning in a lot of ways. And this isn't a complaint against President Trump. And I'm not like trying to Thomas Massey President Trump. The reality of it is there's still an underpinning in this country that allows for that radical group of people in our country to maintain a grip. Only it's now underneath the soil. So on the surface, you have a lot of things that are happening. People are paying attention to those things. You have trade deals that are being done. But I've often talked about the fact of playing 4D chess. Let's be honest about what's happening in our country. The underpinning, the ethos, the behavior of these people has not changed.
It hasn't.
It hasn't changed. So you're not sending them back to the devil. You're letting them take a break. And in the middle of all that, you still have nonprofits that are banking cash and creating no-show jobs and doing some really crazy things to the American people. Matt, we're still in the same place we were before, where you have gender studies happening inside of our schools. The pride flags are flying. People are actually attaching themselves to this advertisement / grooming / recruitment strategy inside of our educational environment. It's still there. It's very much still there. And the media, both the left and the right, they're reporting less on it. Why? Because they don't want you to know that it still has its grips in the soil, the foundation of what we are as a nation. So it's very difficult. On top, you win, but it's like cutting down a limb that's going into the street. Okay, you cut down the limb, but the foundation of all of this evil is still very much so alive. And you can see it. You know, I actually don't care that big defense contractors get a bunch of money. I don't care about that.
I mean, I care about that. I don't want them to. Screw them all.
But my problem is it goes all the way back over to another foreign nation.
Right.
That money goes into Israel's pocket. It goes into, and you can say, Joe, you're anti-Israel. No, I'm not anti-Israel.
I'm anti-Israel government.
Well, I mean, the government, yes.
Well, then, yeah. I mean, I think Israel's doing a lot of bad stuff right now, honestly. I mean, I don't hate the Israeli people, though. I think that's what you're getting at.
I mean, look, can't we, why do we have to swing the pendulum all the way over here and say, I hate all those people? But in essence, that's what Israel does.
It is what they do.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what the Jewish people do. You know, you're an anti-Semite. You cannot criticize us because we are above all of you. You're our dogs, basically. And so I don't have to hate anybody to be able to recognize what they're doing across the globe, that they own the judiciary, that they own every aspect. We can't even get good interest rates as people in our community.
Did you know, by the way, that a certain group of people in the country, not all of them, but a large
lower
percent,
interest rates,
have access, not just lower, 0% interest rates. That's how a certain group of people, primarily, we say the name all the time, but they were able to get a lot of business success rapidly amongst each other, well above what they would have been able to do without that practice because of the 0% interest. And it's not everyone, but a lot of people in this country right now have 0% interest.
You know, if that's true, then we should have a class action lawsuit.
We absolutely need to. But the reason why we can't is because what do you think Trump would do? He's not going to be okay with that. Everyone on both sides is going to go after us if we have a class action lawsuit, but that absolutely needs to happen. And the other thing I want to mention is when it comes to the military spending, okay, let's say we spend $100 billion on the military. Where does that money go? So you break it down. A lot of it goes to paying vets and people who have served, people who are good people, some of them injured and need the money. That's relatively positive. That is positive. We want that. We shouldn't have as many people going and getting injured in the first place, but now they already are. They deserve to be taken care of. Second thing that it goes to is it goes to buying, this is probably the biggest thing, it goes to buying equipment and creating programs. And that equipment, if you're going to create a plane, you have to go and mine the materials. You have to build a factory. You have to use that factory to take the materials and shape them and shift them and turn them into what you want. You have to hire people, man hours. They're building stuff. So just imagine if we say, okay, we're going to take that same metal that we just purchased, that same wood that we just purchased, and instead of using it and hiring those people to craft it together, shape it together into military stuff, what if we shape it together into houses? And this doesn't work long term. You can't have a government housing program. It will never work. But if you just occasionally say, okay, us as the government, we're going to make a few 100,000 homes throughout the country, maybe a few million, probably that's too many, but a few 100,000, and we're going to sell them for exactly what we put into it. We're going to hire the smartest people just for a one-time thing. They're going to design these homes in the cheapest, most efficient way possible. We're going to use the same resources that we were going to use to build military stuff. We already have enough military stuff. We already have a $500 billion budget. It's fine. We can take that extra money and we build the houses instead. And you buy the house, no profit to anyone. And that allows a lot of people right now who are young and can't afford a house. Now you can afford it because the government can use government land. We can use land that doesn't cost money to acquire. So you're basically going to get these houses for $200,000 and it's going to be a nice family home that you can start a family in. It will encourage people to have kids. Why would we rather have a bunch of planes that we're going to use to kill people for other countries? We don't even need them. We have nukes. No one's going to attack us. Why do we need to spend it on that instead of spending it to help our children? That's what pisses me off the most. And no one on either side is willing to bring that up, talk about it. they're not creative. They're not doing what they need to do. And that's what makes me frustrated about this bill the most, is that they could be creative and solve real problems. Instead, we get a couple things we really love and a lot of things we don't.
Yeah, so I would agree with you on spending stuff on, but look, we're going to have to spend money on defense stuff because we create problems, then we have to solve the problems that we create. And it's kind of like the CIA, when the CIA came out and started talking about specifically, I don't know if you saw this, but you had John Ratcliffe. So all the world can see the truth. Brennan, Clapper, and Comey manipulated intelligence and silenced career professionals, all to get Trump. Thank you for the career at CIA officers who conducted this review and exposed the facts. So a data boy, same data boy that Dash Pongino put up. Sorry, I got to
pretty funny.
put them, Cash Pongino.
Yeah, just mix them together, put them in a pot, stir it up. Same thing.
Where they take credit for Christopher Wray's, work that he did previously. And look, I'm not criticizing President Trump, but I am. But I'm not doing it to criticize President Trump. And you could say, oh, yeah, that this is, at some point, we got to stop with the kabuki theater. And there's a lot of it. There's a ton of kabuki theater that's out there. A ton. This morning I put something up about 4th of July truth. And tomorrow's the 4th of July. And man, am I excited about this 4th of July. I'm excited about it for a couple reasons, none of which have anything to do with our independence. It has to do with I'm going to hang out with family. I'm going to chill out with people that I love. I'm going to eat some hot dogs. I'm not going to drink any beer because I gave that up.
Seriously impressive that you've been able to go this long with only one cheat day. Besides that, it is impressive. I'm thinking, Joe, how long are you going to be able to go? How long is this going to last? Is it going to be?
I don't know, but I didn't give it up because I was an alcoholic. I gave it up because I just felt like, I wanted to find out what my bad habits were. Like everybody's got bad habit, right? Mine was DraftKings.
Have you given that up too?
I did.
Really? Okay.
I cut out gambling completely.
I thought about doing a parlay for the first. I'm probably not going to do it, but I thought about doing a parlay just for fun. Put $100 in or something. But I was going to bet on the Broncos and then the Mavericks winning the NBA championship and the Super Bowl. So if that happens, I said it live right now because they both have very low odds to do that. So I was thinking, what's the lowest odds I can get for two separate teams? If I parlay it together, I bet that would be the highest probability of making a lot of money.
And the highest probability of you losing every dollar of it.
I'm going to lose all $100 I put in if I do. I know that. It's going to happen.
So I used to have my own VIP person at DraftKings. I mean, they would call me like Mr. Holtman because I once did is it going to be a 2-pointer or a 3-pointer? And I put an extra 0 on it. And so I meant to bet $30. I bet 300. And so I'm like nervous. I'm like 300. It's like 20 to 1 odds or something. So I made like $5,000 or something on that deal. But I'm getting pissed. And then I saw that I won because my account went bloop. And there's another $5,000 in there. I was like, never mind. I was like telling the thing, never mind. I made a mistake. So I was so pissed I was going to lose $300. I didn't make $5,000. But I gave those things up, right? I gave them up. Because I'm trying to find my bad habit. And now I'm afraid, like, what is my bad habit? Everyone's got one. Everyone's got a vice.
What are your bad habits now, Joe? Do you have?
Well, so I don't like porn, right? It's not me. I'd rather have my wife. Sorry. There's something about looking at that stuff doesn't entertain me. I don't have any. I don't do drugs. I don't cheat on my wife. I don't drink. I don't play video games. Man, what is wrong with me? Seriously. I need to find some bad habits. Like, what is my bad habit? I used to like DraftKings, like be on it all the time. DraftKings. Now that's gone. I don't even miss it. Like, what the hell is wrong with me? Seriously. Everybody tell me what's wrong. What is wrong with me, Matt? Please tell me what's wrong with me.
I'm the same exact way. I don't drink, don't do drugs, I don't bet. I don't do any of the bad stuff, because if you just start drinking, even if you're not addicted to it, you get the beer belly, you get a little more lazy, you have to spend money on it, spend time on it. I would rather spend money, spend time on my family than spend money, spend time on that. I took my baby to a water park today. It was the most incredible thing. That was the same price as a beer. So I would we bought like a package of passes, so we're gonna keep going back. But I would rather do that than drink, and it's more fun. It's like there's so many things that you can do that are better. So I think a world where people have less things like that they do, and it's hard, it's difficult. But if you have any amount of you that wants to do it, you should. It really is. Joe and I can both tell you right now, it is worth it. Even if you're not addicted, you don't have a problem, just cutting out those things completely. Do it. I'd only do it once a week. Well, if you cut it out for that once a week, your life will be better almost every single time. So
Chris says my bad habit is dropping the F-bomb every now and then. And Ali says the video games among adult men is disgusting. I agree with you. I fully agree with you. Absolutely agree with you.
If I had time, I would play video games. I don't think that one's that bad. Just as long as that one's one that, it can be really bad, I guess. But
I always like it when I see new people say stuff. Says wise choices, Joe. You're being sanctified. You don't need bad habits. I'm good with it, but I also think that I'm a little weird as a result. I feel like because I have friends that have really bad habits. I'm constantly talking about them like, oh man, maybe you should just drink a little less. I have a friend who has a cocaine problem. Everyone knows he has a cocaine problem. Like, Joe, why is he your friend? I don't know. He's actually a really good financial guy. He's kind of funny. Everybody knows he's got a cocaine problem. And I'm like, bro, you are 60. It's time for you to lay down the smoke. You need to stop this. Bad habits. Why was I getting on with bad habits? Oh, yeah. So I put up this post this morning about the 4th of July because I kept seeing all this stuff from police departments. Have you seen the police departments? They're all like, we will arrest you. We will arrest you if you light off fireworks. I'm like, man, I will go right in front of the police department and I will let off fireworks. I don't really care what they have to say.
Did they really say that? Because people light off fireworks all the time. I see people all around, even right now, days before lighting off fireworks.
It's Snowflakeville. Like we don't need a daddy. Everywhere we turn, we got to need a daddy. Sorry, President Trump. You can be every other country's daddy. We don't want a daddy. We want to So here's what I wrote. Just a little 4th of July truth. Truth is not easy to swallow. Sprinkle sarcasm, a bit of truth, and blammo, you have a post. Number 1, it's a celebration of independence and freedom. Only in 15 states, it's illegal to show that freedom with fireworks that have been set off since, 1776. Those of you that don't know, fireworks have been around a long time. But they are too dangerous for you because you are a slave. Sorry, put them down or we will arrest you. Number 1. Number 2, fireworks are dangerous. Yeah, so are pedophiles and groomers, yet we let them teach children and advertise and recruit with a pride flag in the classroom. Oops, inconvenient truth. Number 3, read the room. America was never great. It's a country built on stolen land. We need to let animals trash the country and destroy it. So all that is nice because that is the patriotic thing to do. AOL. Oh, LOL. I was being a little bit of sarcastic there, just so you're wondering. For hundreds of years, we let stupid people reap the benefits of their actions. Now we protect them from themselves. There will be no laughing, smiling, or having fun this 4th of July. Need you all to sit down and shut up. Any attempt to light your own fireworks will result in a $1,000 fine and a trip to the pokey. Remember, this is Independence Day. That means you depend on us to independently tell you what to do. Number 5, you are not free. You own nothing. You pay a shitload in taxes because you are, in fact, a slave. The country is literally insolvent. And while they play grab ass and what can only be described as kabuki theater, we look at each other and say, Slava Ukraine or Slava Israel or, well, any other country but the US of A. Because, well, as they keep trying to tell us, we were never great. But Ukraine, Israel, yeah, they have it all figured out, and we must give them our riches. You missed this one, didn't you? Did you miss this one?
I did miss that one. It's pretty good. Good stuff.
Anyway, if you got this far, you clearly need a hug. As you barbecue and hang with your family, remember that we are not at war with anyone. The selected leaders are. We are just the pawns they use to fight each other while they take what was never theirs to take. With that said, remember what this day is about. And if it is not what you think it was intended to be, that is because it's not. And at some point, we're going to have to rip off the Band-Aid and take back what rightfully belongs to the people. Now go hither and be awesome this 4th of July. Only no fireworks. Make sure you hydrate and keep Johnny away from the punch. You're welcome.
It's pretty good. I like it. I think that's well said. In 1776, they pulled out muskets. They pulled out guns.
Mhm.
They went onto a battlefield. Many of them got shot in the face and died.
Yeah.
All of the ones who didn't had a strong chance of getting shot in the face and dying. And they knew that and still did it anyway. And they went out there consistently and were smart and fought hard and beat the greatest army in the history of the world until us in modern era. But at that point, the greatest army that ever existed in the history of the world, we defeated them without even having really any serious advantage because we wanted it more, we were smarter, and we were willing to die for our cause. They weren't as much. So that's why it's the most amazing day after Christmas and Easter. It would be number 3. And we absolutely need to be having fun, celebrating it. And if you think that being told you can't do something on that day is something you should listen to, not advice. Don't do this and say it's my fault, but probably should do it actually. I guess you can blame me if you want. Use your Independence Day to be independent. It's that simple. If you want to shoot off fireworks and someone tells you can't, I would rather pay a fine and do it than not do it. I don't really care.
So
We're allowed to say that, right? Are we allowed to say break the law and shoot them off anyway? Because that's what I want to say.
Break the law.
I want to say that.
Yes, absolutely. Why would you not shoot off fireworks? Everybody goes, it's dangerous.
Yeah, be
so
safe.
is driving a car.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, if you blow off your hand because you were dumb enough to hold on to a firecracker, something's wrong with you. Sorry. Well, and look, I've been stupid before. We used to have Roman candle fights and shoot them at each other. And one year I didn't wear glasses and I'm out there and I got shot right in the side of the eye. I still have a little bit of a scar there. And this thing bloodied me all up. I thought I was going to lose my eye. Guess who was responsible for that?
Everyone else besides you?
Me.
Oh, it was you? Okay.
I was a retard. You do retarded stuff, you're going to get hurt. No, wear a helmet, some bubble wrap. Hey, no, do not experience. I don't even know how I survived. I mean, your generation, Matt, man, you guys are going to live 300 years. You want to know why? Because they're at no point, most of people your age or younger, that their whole life is revolved around Minecraft and Call of Duty. It's not real. Like, you didn't do anything. You put on the safety helmet while you sat on the couch and play with a controller and talk to people like you were some tough guy in the little mic. Not that that's what you do, but most do that. Most people do that.
Yeah, I would hope I don't do that. I would like to think I don't. I haven't played in a few years any video games actually at all, which is crazy. I mean, maybe on my phone, I guess, if you count that, but I haven't played COD, which I used to love. And I will at some point play COD a little bit in the future. I like COD. We'll play a game. We'll have to play.
I'm gonna have to beat you.
Yeah, there's some fun games on Switch too that you can play with the whole family. Mario Party, for example. We'll play Mario Party. We can do that. But at the end of the day, spending too much time on video games is a serious problem with younger generations. Gen Z has a lot of based people, but also a lot of crazy libtards. Has a lot of people who are really smart entrepreneurs, but also a lot of people who are at their parents' house in the basement playing video games all day. So Gen Z is a very, very, very divided generation. Most generations have more commonality. We have people that are all over here, all the way over here. And so I like Gen Z, but it is a crazy generation. It's a crazy generation for sure.
Okay, so if we're going to talk Gen Z, we need to talk about P. Diddy.
Yeah, we didn't get to cover it a lot yesterday, but that is
because I don't like him.
You don't like to talk about P. Diddy. You want to keep P. Diddy as far out of. I was going to make a good joke, but I couldn't think of the words. We don't want to talk about him. You don't want to. No more diddling with Diddy.
Yeah, because I think the guy, frankly, is just a really bad person. He's just a bad person.
Well, he's about to be a free person, a free bad person. You think he's going to go back to doing it?
Do you think? Yes, 100%. Yeah. He just got away with it, and he got charged with 2. So let me just tell you, for those of you that don't know, he was charged with all sorts of stuff. And if this doesn't show you the incompetence or the corruption, to have that much evidence presented, just the baby oil himself, you should give him a life sentence just for the baby oil. just so we're clear. He found him guilty of transportation for prostitution. That's it. Racketeering, not guilty. Trafficking, not guilty. Transport, guilty. Trafficking on Jane Doe, not guilty. Transporting, guilty. They found Sean Combs guilty of 2 transporting charges. 2. He's facing, between these 2 charges, 10-year sentences, max. 10-year max sentences.
And it's going to be dropped on appeal most likely too. So he probably won't even serve that. Maybe.
He's already served. I mean, he's been in jail for quite a long time. Everybody thought for sure, I mean, based on everything that they had all sorts of information that he'd go to jail for a long time. And nothing. But several months ago, you did hear about the fact that an attorney revealed there were secret sex tapes involving Diddy and a high-profile person.
Multiple high-profile people. We know that Diddy had cameras in the bedrooms of some of his houses. We know that for a fact. And by the way, if you're wondering, the time he has already served will count towards his total sentence, meaning that if they give him a 10-year sentence, it would be, with parole, probably like 4 years at max that he would have remaining. I don't think
going to. Within the guidelines, it's 15 to 21 months.
There's no chance.
He'll get out tomorrow.
There's no chance that he's going to spend more than 3 years, and he's probably not going to spend another month in prison, most likely.
All right. So let's listen to this conversation about the attorney for Sean Diddy Combs. Let's play it.
Have the first verdict on count 1. Racketeering conspiracy. How do you find the defendant not guilty? And so now they'll move on to count 2. Count 2. How do you find the defendant not guilty? That is the sex trafficking of Cassandra Ventura. On count 3, which is Mann Act transportation involving Cassie Ventura, guilty.
We already went through this.
Count 4.
I don't need to rewrite that. Just go to the next video, please.
Recently contacted by someone who wanted me to essentially represent them in the sale of one of the Diddy tapes. So, which I declined that because...
Wait a minute. Say that again. Say that again. Back up. You're saying that there's tapes and they're being shopped?
Yes, there have been people already shopping.
We've heard about the tapes, but yes. The shopping thing is...
Yes, there already have been tapes leaking around Hollywood, being shopped around to individuals in Hollywood. But one particular person contacted me to shop a particular video they were in possession of and to contact the person who was in the video to see if they were interested in purchasing the video before it became a public knowledge.
I've heard this before, so like a catch and kill.
Catch and kill, correct.
Wow. Can you, and I guess you can't reveal the person who is on
No, I can't explain who the person was, but
High profile?
Mr. Combs was in the tape, and this other person is, I would venture to say, more high profile than Mr. Combs.
Really? Really? And you've seen it?
I've seen stills of the video.
Okay.
So
you can verify
that it exists, that it's real, that the other person in the video is very visible. It's no question if it's that person in the video, and I can tell the video is pornographic in nature.
Oh my. All right. So we know that he videotaped a lot of activities at his home, did he? And it sounds like there was probably a lot of hidden cameras as well. Is that what is being talked about?
Yes. This was actually in his Atlanta home, at a home he had in Atlanta at one point. And it does seem that the person isn't like looking into the video, so it's, to me, doesn't seem like that person knows they're being videotaped. It doesn't seem like they're active participant in the videotaping, like they're being surreptitiously recorded it.
By the way, Jay-Z. Jay-Z is who she was talking about, most likely. There's a lot of tapes. We know Jay-Z.
Come on.
Jay-Z and P. Diddy were close to it. Jay-Z almost certainly, and we don't, until we actually have the tapes publicly, we can't say that except for putting the word allegedly first. But I'm telling you right now, Jay-Z's on the tapes. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows Jay-Z and Diddy were really close friends, participating in all this stuff together. So that right there alone is enough that we should be investigating further. But what they really did, the way they railroaded this is they didn't put in the charges with underage girls. They left that completely out. They didn't put in the charges with the drugs to the degree that they should have. And with the roofing people, which his bodyguard said he did regularly, or it wasn't necessarily roofing, but it was date rape drugs that he used. His bodyguard came out and publicly said that he did that a lot to a lot of people. Boys, girls, women, men, a lot of people. And so we don't see any of those charges being put forward because this was a railroad from the beginning. They knew that Diddy, all we have to do is say, okay, hey, Diddy, we raided your house. We're going to put you in prison for life. Just give us the tapes. We don't want you to have the possession of those. Give us the tapes. And what we're going to do is we're going to put you with chargers. We're going to rig it so that it's going to be easy for you to get off. And you're not going to have the tapes anymore.
Right, so let's talk about
go free. That's what happened.
Let's talk about the rigging. Guess who the prosecutor was in the case of Diddy?
A rigger. What?
It's a family affair.
Yeah.
Like the entire government. Did you ever notice that? You have Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton. Then you got Chelsea that's involved with an NGO, and they create all this stuff to filter off and funnel money off. You have James Comey was director of FBI. And oh, wait, hold on. That's right. The lead prosecutor in this case is none other than Maureen Comey, who is the daughter of James Comey.
How many Epstein tapes do you think there are on James Comey?
Oh,
do you think that's fair?
I don't know. I don't know if that's fair or not.
Yeah. Is it fair that the daughter of one of the most high-profile people involved with all these politicians who were supposedly on the tapes at many points in time, is it fair to have that person's daughter being the lead prosecutor? Is that,
listen,
it's not fair.
We have a class of people that are in the private sector, and then we have the public sector. The public sector is not public. It's anything but public. But they groom their children in order to take positions inside of the government so they can pass the baton and say, listen, all these people down here, these plebes, these little, 250 million people that are down here, we just take their money. We take 56 cents on every dollar. We talk to them any way we want. We make them feel like they're doing an election, go through the part, but it's really not real. We can put anybody in any position that we want to.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of them rigging everything. And I just want to say this clearly. Those darn riggers are destroying our country.
Yeah.
I'm making a little bit of a joke there. But seriously though, these are the most evil people on the planet. And every single time that they get away with it, they gain a little bit more confidence. Every time that they see someone like Diddy walk off, they say, okay, I'm going to do one more plane flight with one more child. And over time, it destroys the moral fabric of our society. That's what we're seeing.
So let me just you guys understand this. Way back in the day, if I go all the way back to when I was 16 years old, and I was running drugs. Okay. And I had a saying way back then that somebody said to me. It's kept true to me till this time. Loose lips sink ships. Nobody gets to know what they don't get to know. Right? But one of the things that you understood is that you could influence someone. So then fast forward into my 30s, I was working on a project. A friend of mine got in trouble, and statute of limitations is run by, got in trouble. And so I made a phone call and then called someone else, and I got him out of trouble. I got my friend out of trouble, making a couple phone calls. My friend got caught with an absurd amount of drugs. This is 15, 18 years ago. And look, and I'm not proud of this. No, it was, man, wow, it was 21 years ago. 21 years ago. 21 years ago, my friend got caught with an obscene amount of cocaine. It was like his little, you know how you have like a yogurt, big yogurt, but you only need a part of it? Well, he had a cocaine thing.
Size of a big yogurt.
He would just take stuff out of the thing, right? And
was he eating it? What was he? How was he?
I don't know, bro. I do not ascribe to the do drugs part. If you have to do drugs, then something's wrong with you. You should figure something else out, right? But and so I get a phone call from my buddy, who's one of the police officers, and I'm like, bro, just drive him home. Do me a solid and drive him home.
And take the drugs, though, right?
And he was like, Joe, I can't. Like, this is trafficking. And I was like, bro, you remember? And I had to pull you remember when we were in the car and you did this, right? And I'm the one that helped you. He's like, yeah. I was like, great. You owe me. I pulled the you owe me. Now, keep in mind, I wasn't involved in the government, but probably at least 15 times in my life, I have pulled the card. At least 15 times in my life, I pulled a card where I knew someone that knew someone, and I got it taken care of. I say this.
How did he confiscate the drugs, though? Because what is he going to do? Go take it back and say, I just found these in the middle of the street? You know, I mean, I'm curious. So he took the drugs from him, right? And then drove him home. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay. And what did he do with the drug? Do you know what happened after that?
No, didn't care. I just cared that my friend got out, right? He got out of going to jail for 10 years.
I know. I mean, there are some dirty cops that will take those drugs and then go sell them. But it doesn't seem like that's that scenario.
But the point is, it was probably at least $5,000 worth of drugs, and that he lost. So it cost him $5,000, but he didn't have to pay for a lawyer, and he didn't go to jail for another 10 years for trafficking. So
did he do it again after that? Did he ever get caught doing it again? My
friend, I don't know. I stopped talking to him because we're just not equally yoked. So this is before Jesus for me, right? And then after Jesus, I just didn't. I didn't want to hang with those people, even though I never did drugs. I would hang around with people, pro ball players, other people that did, and so you're around it. So you're not sanctioning it, but you're not. Does that make sense? Like you're not. Anyway, when you get into those environments and you are drinking, you get bottle service and you're hanging out with guys, you're out till 2 a.m. Also, another thing I adopted: nothing good happens after midnight, and all the bad stuff you're going to see out there happens after midnight. Right? My brother dying after midnight. Right? Everything after midnight. But the reason why I bring this up is because the more I did and I acquired, like when I went overseas, and I had a friend that had a problem with the IRS, and it was bona fide he was getting railroaded. I went to talk to a congressman who then made a couple phone calls and did a few things. Boop, boop, problem solved. You'd say, well, Joe, that's a part of the system. I recognize that. My daughter went to school with a guy whose wife was stuck in Afghanistan. My daughter called me. She'll probably listen to this right now. My daughter called me and said, you have to help me. I made a couple phone calls, and they're like, well, if you'll help us get these people out, we'll get her out. Now, the Freedom Bridge that went up to Uzbekistan or whatever, the Freedom Bridge, was closed. They shut it down. There's no way out. They had two, other than getting on planes, and you saw back when that happened, people were falling off of tires and stuff like that because they were trying to get out on the plane, right?
That's crazy stuff.
Okay. So I had to get her out. She was 8 months pregnant. She was about to have a baby. My daughter said, you have to help him. I went to school with him. Please help me. And so I literally had to use my stuff and people that I knew, made phone calls, and got her out. Now I want you to take what I just said, Matt, and now multiply that by 100. And I'm giving you my state secrets, right? Keep people close to you. Make sure you have at least 1 or 2 billionaires that like you. There's just certain things that you have to have, even if
that's tough though. There's only 5,000 billionaires in the world. It's pretty hard to.
Most of them are in the United States.
Yeah, you
just get to know one that's out of the United States and one that's in that likes you, and you're good, right?
Yeah. There we go. Yeah. That's all you need. How many billionaires like you, Joe? You got a few on the roster. You got a few billionaires on the contacts phone list roster.
Yeah, I mean, look, I have a couple people that I can call, but my point is this. Now, I want you to take what I just said, and you have James Comey, who's the director of the FBI, pretty powerful position, right? He can literally have people arrested at will. They have absolute ability to 1 degree of separation in order to create an ability to basically tap your phone. They can do whatever they want. They have absolute. Now, imagine grooming your daughter into that position. You want to get somebody out or not get out. All you have to do is do what they do anyway and act like you're trying to hold the door closed or trying to get something done like they did in the P. Diddy trial. There was so much more information that did not come out in the P. Diddy trial. And the person at the very helm of that happens to be directly connected to James Comey as a daughter. And I would look at it and go, and this is the silly part about it. The more back deals happen, you hope they're ethical. You hope that they're doing things that actually help create some sort of agreement. I've been in many back rooms in business deals and others, but what you don't understand is that when you build this fraternity that is the haves and the have-nots, and you start to build this deal, man, it's a club. It's a club. And the Democrats and Republicans, they're both in the same club.
They are. And I'm curious about something. Now that Diddy is free, now that he's going to be out soon, do you think that he should take advantage of the free AMAC membership? Is that something he should do?
Yes.
Yeah, I think, Diddy, if you're watching, we hate you. But at the same time, I don't think anyone, I wouldn't wish not being an AMAC member on my worst enemy. So, Diddy, why don't you go ahead and sign up? But I think everyone, including Diddy, needs to be paying attention to what we're about to say.
AMAC. It's free. We paid for it. amac.us/untamed. Go there. They have great discounts. Even Costco's on this deal. I don't know how you save money at Costco because you're always saving money at Costco. But you got Avis, Budget, I just said My Pillow. Mike, just give me back my money. Give me back my money. I just gave you a plug on My Pillow. I just want you to give back the money you owe me. Papa John's. And insurance companies and all sorts of other stuff you can get. Insurance, advocacy, educational resources, special offers, member discounts. You name it, they do it. It's free. Free for 1 year, free on us. So go over there to amac.us/untamed.
If you're going to Costco at any point in time and you don't have an AMAC membership, you know that you're paying more than you need to. And that's why normally people pay money for AMAC. And it's worth it to pay money for AMAC. But to be able to get it for free for an entire year, it's not just a month for free. I mean, that's not even possible. So if you don't run and do that right now, what the heck are you doing? And that's, I say that every show, but it's true. And we keep getting a bunch of people signed up. Everyone's signing up. So if you still haven't done it yet, you're going to want to do that right now. Don't you think so, Joe? I think everyone should do that. But anyway.
Or don't. It'll save me money, so don't do it. Even if you're a Democrat, you can go do it. It costs me money. Okay, so with that, we're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we've got some stuff that happened in D.C. Some people got shot in D.C. We have a congressional aide that got shot. And
an intern. It's really sad. It's really sad.
Let's go to commercial break. We'll be right back. In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
Gabe! Dude, Gabe, something's in the dumpster.
Whoa, what is that for?
Something's in the dumpster, man.
Well, let's use the burner. We don't want to wake the neighbors. Freeze! Stop resisting!
Stop resisting!
If you're looking for a less than lethal option for self-defense or keeping pests out of your dumpster, then check out Byrna at DCF Guns. Visit us at our 3 locations in Castle Rock or Colorado Springs, or visit us online at dcfguns.com.
Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter.
All right, ready? Yeah. Let's try to stick. We're almost at 9.
Okay. First, I want to say this. Man, while we celebrate some of the good things that we have as going to the 4th of July, there are some amazing blessings we have in our country. Number one, we don't have bombs dropping on our head. Let's put things in perspective. So when we talk about corruption and all this stuff, it's not all bad. You know, there's some things that I think we have to have. And the problem is that when you go through 4 years that we went through with Biden, it becomes very difficult not to tell yourself that everything is a nail and you have to be the hammer. There's some amazing things that have happened. Some of the relationships that we've had because of the 4 years that we had with Biden. Some of the revelations that we've had collectively, the things that we've woken up to, have happened because of the 4 years that Biden was in office.
And probably Elon Musk buying X was a direct result of Biden and the fake disinformation campaign and other things that they did in order to get him elected. That pissed off Elon. We wouldn't have free speech if Biden didn't get elected.
We would not have free speech. You're absolutely right. So there are some great things. It's also got a reminder that there are bad things that can happen to anyone at any point. You have to keep your head on a swivel. And when you're in D.C., it becomes even more difficult because you can't have a gun in D.C.
And you can't fly with one anyway, even if you wanted to have one in D.C. So they make it as hard as possible to protect yourself. Or I guess you can if you put it in a case in the carry-on, but that's a whole process. They make it as hard as possible.
So Eric Tarpinian, who interned for Kansas Rep Ron Estes, was not the intended target, but was shot dead. And others were injured. He's a 21-year-old student at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. Died. He was just shot around 10:30 p.m. at the 1200 block of 7th Street in Northwest D.C. He died on Tuesday. An adult female and a 16-year-old male were also shot and taken to a local hospital. According to the police department, multiple individuals exited a car and began firing at a group of people. Tarpinian isn't believed to have been the intended target of the shooting, but he was shot. According to statements from the office, he was a rising senior majoring in finance with a minor in political science, University of Massachusetts, Amherst. Just a young kid, man. Just a young kid in his prime, the prime of his life, or you could say even pre-prime. But our hearts go out to and our prayers go out to the family of Eric. And
it's not easy to become an intern like that. It's a pretty prestigious position.
You have to apply for it, and you have to be someone that has the ability to rise up, also take orders, all the stuff that I would never be good at.
No,
I take orders actually pretty well. I just don't think I could put up with stupid.
I don't think you take orders very well, Joe. Would you consider yourself an order taker? I feel like you prefer to be making the orders. As you know, there's different types of people. Some people like to follow the orders. Some people like to make them. It's just about what kind of personality you have. But anyway, I mean, I'm getting distracted. I mean, this is a kid. This is someone who was just trying to do his job, was just living. He wasn't even the target. It is so unbelievably sad that people come to this level of hatred where they're willing to violently attack others for political reasons. He's in
DC, man. Hit squads there happen all the time. And my guess is he was on the edge of Northwest and Northeast. There's a fine line between the two. And I should say Southwest, Southeast, and where they were in Northeast. So Northwest, sorry. DC's a different place, man. It's only 10 square miles.
Yeah.
That's it.
I was there for the inauguration walking around. It's extremely beautiful, but it definitely has a bit of a evil aura to it, for sure. You can feel the evil when you're there.
Yeah. It really is an evil place. Let's just run through a bunch of stuff really quick if we can. Trump supporter, his wife was Iranian and was detained by ICE. And he's still pro-Trump. And here's what he had to say. This is kind of an interesting story. They wanted to blow up in their face and didn't blow up.
Whoa. Pun intended? An Iranian blowing up? I don't know. It's with all the current events.
Okay, let's play it.
Those Trump flags staying up tonight.
Yeah, those flags staying up. This family still supports Donald Trump despite their mom being detained. The final moments home for an Iranian woman detained by immigration agents.
Thank you.
A mother Monday going inside to say bye to her 4 kids.
She came and kissed the kids and that was it. That's the last time I saw her.
A proud President Trump supporting family in Diamond Bar.
The election time was here. I had a full 3-4 flags out.
Even while their mom faces immigration questions. Has your opinion changed on this?
That's a good question. Somewhat it has. Just because I'm going through it. I was very selfish before. But what I see right now is, okay, there's a reason for it.
Arthur Sahakian's wife, Arpaneh, was born in Iran and moved to the United States when she was 3 as a refugee.
She cashed a check, I believe it was less than $200, and this is all where it started.
Then, about 15 years ago, her green card was revoked over a conviction related to theft.
It's all misdemeanor stuff.
Arthur says they've been going through the legal process towards regaining citizenship with check-ins every 6 months or so.
She just went in April, and they said, okay, you're fine. Have a good day. We'll see you back in September or October.
Then last week, the United States bombed 3 nuclear sites in Iran, increasing tensions and concerns of Iranian sleeper cells retaliating in the U.S.
I'm very for of them seeing the Iranian nationals because of the sleeper cells. I understand that.
Federal sources tell Fox News that more than 130 Iranian nationals were detained in the U.S. this last week.
I think it will resolve a lot of issues because we will know exactly who's in here for what reasons. Even though I miss her dearly, but I think we could do a better job of you catch someone, you see they're national, and do a background real quick and see if they have ties to the community and ties to families over here, and let them go.
What do you think's going to happen?
I'm on the list to be going to a different facility.
Arpaneh speaking with us on the phone, uncertain about her future. Any regrets with your vote?
None. Still supporting him.
While her family continues showing support for President Trump, hoping their mom comes home soon.
Trump is not trying to do anything bad. We understand what he's doing, and he wants the best for the country.
That's a guy that literally has a girlfriend.
I know. But if you just married her, that's all it would take.
He was married 15 years or so.
Was he married? But why did she still have a green card
I don't know.
If they're married,
well,
she should have full legal status. Because he had a green card too. Is that how it was?
No, he was a citizen.
So then if they're married, then she's a citizen.
No, that's not the way it works. You still have to go through the same process.
Interesting. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean that's the fact. It's a weird story, but at the same time, a legal immigrant comes to our country, steals something from one of our stores, and then expects to be able to stay here. I mean,
look, people make mistakes. This whole idea that we can throw 20 million people out is just absurd. Sorry. I know you don't agree with that. I know there are people that don't agree with that. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with throwing out 20 million people. It's not realistic. And by the way, it's not who we are as a nation.
Yeah, but those 20 million people are going to create a forever Democrat wall of voters that would then be entrenched with voter fraud.
Why would they? They just took away the benefits, took away Medicaid, take away from the illegals, make them stand on their own 2 feet.
Well, the states
just
are
like
going to
my
fight
family
that.
did.
California's still going to give them.
Then California will fall into the ocean. Maybe they'll break off and go into the ocean.
It's not a bad idea.
But I mean, but my point is that we don't just debate the ridiculous with Democrats. You know, we got to have a better platform that they want to run towards. It's not run by rhetoric. We got to be more understanding of the fact that Democrats basically want to kill your children and create genocide. They want to kill off entire societies of minorities. Like, that's a real part of their platform. And they do it under the guise of it being a right. So we just got to do a better job. I mean, rather than just kicking them out and saying, oh, we're afraid they're going to become Democrat voters, how about we get an election system that allows for us to see where the voters actually lie? Because right now you can't see it. That's my biggest problem, is that it's not the fact that we have people here that disagree with me, that are Democrats or Republican. I don't care. But most people are not ridiculous. Most people are not retarded. And what we've done in our country is we have people that are retarded, that are our leaders, that run this kabuki theater, and Democrat, Republican, Independent, we all get left behind. Nobody wins. I've never seen a Democrat that's out there, standing out there, even during Biden's deal, that wasn't pissed off that they didn't get anything. Nobody gets anything. They just take. The government just takes. So if we want to fix it, let's fix it. And the 20 million people, maybe 5 million go away. So, okay, 15 million stay. And then we just create a place where we can have opportunity. Right now, nobody gets opportunity. We can equally suck together. And President Trump is changing a lot of that. He's changing a lot of it. And this is one of the problems that I have with what Elon says sometimes, right? It's not a zero-sum game. I don't have to like everything that President Trump does. People that work for me out there, they don't agree with everything that I say. And yet, if they don't do it, they're fired. It's really simple. Oh, you don't want to do it? Hey, look, it's been great, man. See that door? Don't let the door hit you with a good Lord split you. Right? So we have to be willing to take the good with the bad. And we're just not willing to have those hard conversations. I don't agree with everything President Trump says. I don't have to. But he is the CIC. Right? And as a CIC, we have to follow that order. We didn't want to follow Biden. You want to know why? Because Biden was illegitimate. Because the elections in this country are illegitimate. You want to know why people don't want to listen to judges and everyone else? Because they're illegitimate. They've been put there by people that are selected, not elected. That's it. That's all I got on that.
Yep. And we got another big story, though, that we're going to go over. Now, this will probably be the last story that we talk about today, because we're trying to stay at an hour for the show. So that way, every time you come watch a show, you know it's going to be an hour long. We're going to be hopefully at 200,000 people watching an episode very soon. That's the goal. We want extreme, fast trajectory growth. We want to be as quick as we can. We want to be the biggest show on the internet. In order to do that, I believe it's important to keep it at an hour every episode for now while we're in that growth phase, and we can start doing a lot more long form content in the future. But that's the goal. So you come here, you watch for an hour, you get everything you need to know. You're going to be so well informed.
What about the extra? What about they sign up to be an extra, and they get time with us, or we go into a Zoom deal,
it's not a bad idea. It's not a bad
idea. Let people talk to us.
Yeah, we'll see what the market is for that. That's not a bad idea.
Y'all want to pay to have my time? Come on in.
Actually, I think we need to pay for them to be our therapist. I think that's you guys need to send us an invoice for every show. We need 100,000 invoices.
They have to pay us to be my therapist.
Yeah, they have to pay us.
This is reverse.
I like that better. Sounds like a good idea.
We believe in communism. Just kidding, we don't.
Yeah, only for us. As long as we're the communist leaders, then it's fine. It's all good. But take a look at this. So this is a very sad story. Edward Kelly sentenced to life in prison for threatening FBI agents. He didn't kill anyone.
He actually didn't threaten them directly. He did it on chat groups.
Yeah. And life in prison for that is insane. That P. Diddy, who has all of the evidence against him, is walking free, while this guy is never going to get to see the outside of a prison cell ever again. That's disgusting. And he didn't, I mean, a lot of people thought he was pulled into this. A lot of people thought it was fake charges that were drummed up against him or that he was prompted to do it, whatever it is. Life in prison for this man, when he didn't actually hurt anyone, is going too far. It's similar to Joe Exotic, where they basically framed him. I don't want to go into the Joe Exotic train, but
that's not exactly true, right? Let me just tell you what happens to people.
Yeah.
And it's super important that you understand this. Most people, when they face an injustice, right, they give up. They give up. They literally give up. And what happens is that he was arrested for going into the Capitol in January of 2021. In 2022, he had to serve a January 6th related sentence for shoving a police officer. It's fruit of the poisonous tree. You've ever heard of somebody where their life spirals out of control and spirals down the hill?
Mm.
And that happens because somebody wronged them, and then a judge let it be wronged, and then they went to prison, and somebody did something to him in prison, and then he got out from that wronged, and then they still, he served a sentence, and then the FBI still surveilled him, still harassed him, still bullied him, still intimidated him. And so they knew that they could put their finger on him and they could crush the spirit of this guy. And they wanted so badly. I think that's why they hate me. And I'm not saying the FBI hates me. I'm not saying
they do.
Well, I don't think so.
There's plenty of people in the FBI hate you. I'm 100% sure about that.
I'm sure about that. That's
based
true.
on what's happened. We've seen the evidence. We know that's a fact. I mean, I'm sure.
There's plenty of people in the social media platforms that hate me.
And me too, but you probably are even more hated than me.
Nobody hates you, bro. You got 2.3 million people that follow you on Twitter.
Come on, guys. Right? If you're an FBI and you're watching it, please hate me. I need a couple haters.
No,
I want to be cool like Joe.
They'll call up Miss whatever her name is, Gooby Gaba at Twitter and be like, hey, look, you just play this little psychological game on Matt, and then you'll get pissed.
Oh no.
Because then you'll get mad at all the people like what's the face that you don't like. What's that guy's name?
You mean Mr. Poole?
Poole, yeah, you're not a fan of Poole.
Don't like him.
Okay, but his life spiraled out of control. The prosecutors just made up a narrative. This is the same DOJ under Pam Bondi that we see now. It is largely driven by sticks and how to beat the American people. He did not use a weapon. He did not make a bomb. No agents were harmed, and no attack ever happened. So he is guilty of projecting, and I'll say this, Mr. President, you need to pardon him. Pardon him once, pardon him again, and then get him some mental health help. Right the wrong that started this ball down the hill.
Do you think it would be fair to have him serve 3 years and then Trump pardons him at the end of the term? I mean, does he deserve 3 years for this?
No,
I don't. I think
this guy's life. Yeah. He lost his home. Yep. He lost a lot of things as a result of this. He lost his relationship. He lost his home. He lost his job. He lost his identity. This is a guy that was a Marine. He served his country. And if you want to know how many people are sitting in jail that serve this country, I don't know what the number is. I should probably look it up, but it's a big number. There's a large number of incarcerated men who served our country, many of them in battle, who just couldn't recover from it. And here's a guy that literally fought for our country and felt betrayed. His greatest thing is that he went to jail because he was standing up for the American people because he took an oath.
Yep.
And I'm going to tell you, that's what Edward Kelly did. Edward Kelly took an oath. And that oath was very simple. That I am going to fight those enemies, foreign and domestic. He didn't want a civil war any more than I want a civil war or Matt wants a civil war. Nobody wants a civil war. Even the left, most of the people on the left don't want a civil war. They just want justice. They want a system that is not innately destroying the sovereignty of people. Not a hard thing to ask for, except for it is.
It is. Yeah.
So Kelly said he was blowing off steam on these apps.
Don't do that, by the way. If you're in case you're thinking about it, not that you were, but it's a bad idea. You don't want to. The FBI can see everything you're saying.
But it says on
pretty
encrypted
dumb.
apps.
It
so
is
you know
extremely
the
dumb.
FBI can get into all of those things.
Oh, easily. It is. He did the dumbest thing in the world by doing that. I don't think he had any intention to actually take anyone's life, which is why this is an extreme injustice.
Yeah.
But he is still a total idiot for doing that. So, but at the same time, he should have never been forced to go fight in the Middle East for wars that weren't even for our country. We didn't need to do any wars in the last 30 years. The last time we really needed to be in a war, you could argue, was close to a century
Korean
ago.
War.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Even though that didn't go so well, right? But
it didn't go well. No war that we've fought in since World War II has gone well.
And we didn't even need to be in World War II. Really, the last time we really needed to be in a war.
We actually finished World War II.
Yeah, but
I mean, we killed hundreds of thousands of people and dropped bombs on their foreheads.
But it wasn't our fight necessarily. I mean, that's the whole World War II. Yeah, it was good. It was good to stop Hitler. Well, yeah, whatever. But I mean, I say it wasn't our fight because they would have never come for us. We only joined in to help them. So fine, that's good. Okay, we can say that one. But before that, besides World War II, which we were trying to help other people in, we haven't needed a war since 1776. Yeah, we need to be strong defensively. We need to deter attacks. But what wars have we really truly needed to do?
None.
Isn't that crazy to think about? And it's the biggest industry in the world. It's 1/4 of our entire budget. And we don't even really, I mean, we need some of it for protection, but we don't really need most of that. So anyway, I digress.
I mean, that's like saying you don't need police officers. I mean, we don't, I mean,
it's not.
It's a different subject. It's totally
because the police don't have nukes. Imagine you commit a crime, you get nuked. Yeah, it's completely
But we're not
different.
using nukes. We use drones that basically disconnect the person from the actual need, right? So
that's true.
Let me just, so you guys understand this, because he built this list of people who worked for the FBI who had harassed him, intimidated him, bullied him. These same FBI agents went to court as the victims of a crime that never was committed. There was no planning that was done. It was just a list. And they went and said, now their lives, they live in fear and terror. They have security systems and they live in the rest of their lives in fear because Kelly made a list with their names on an encrypted app.
Yeah, it's not true. And he would have never been in that position. But I believe it's you're doing the prayer today, Joe, but I do want to make sure we include him in our prayers. And I know you probably were already going to, but he needs our prayers right now.
I want to just hammer this home. There was no planning.
None.
And his client is being punished for expressing political frustration that in large part leaders of the Democrat Party have been doing for years. They have called for the execution of President Trump. They said someone needs to put a bullseye on them. Those people created kill lists and incited terror against President Trump. President Trump, I don't think you should wait 5 minutes. I don't think that the DOJ and the FBI in its current position should be able to pick and choose winners and losers in the United States. And in essence, that's what's happened here. You have to, there has to be a voice of reason. And that voice of reason is not debating the ridiculous, regardless of what side we're on. You don't have to agree with what Kelly said. You don't have to agree with what he said. You don't have to agree with what he did. You don't have to agree that Ed Kelly did anything that you can justify, because you can't justify a kill list. You can't.
He knows they're watching him. He does that. It is purely stupid and retarded. But at the same time, when you're mentally at the end of your line, you don't act rationally. And so we can say he's stupid. We can also say it's not his fault that he was put in that mental state in the first place. He should have never been there. This would have never happened. He's not a bad guy. I don't think. I mean, maybe I could be wrong. He doesn't seem like a bad guy to me.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's not a bad guy. But he is a guy that there has to be a safety valve that we create. And by the way, this is a hill worth dying on. Edward Kelly's a guy worth protecting. The left became his enemy, and now the right is now the person that betrays him yet again. He went to Washington, D.C. to stand up for the values of free and fair elections and making sure that the people had a voice, that it wasn't institutional slavery. No part of what Edward Kelly did was done for selfish reasons. He was selfless, just like he was when he served overseas as a Marine. There's no difference between what he did then and what he saw himself doing in 2021. And for the FBI to weaponize itself against him and build this case, and for the DOJ and Pam Bondi not to recognize this, and frankly, the administration not to admonish what is being done to this man and to just pardon him. And a part of it, give him the ability to go get some help so that he can release this anger and betrayal that he's lived with. The consequences have been so grave against this young man. And frankly, you're not going to be able to right it until you pardon him and give him the ability to heal.
And a little conspiracy here that I'm going to put out there. It doesn't make any sense. Life in prison, it technically is his first time offense in some ways of that level by far. I mean, if you want to count Jan 6, whatever, I believe there's a decent probability that they essentially, instead of doing 10 years, which maybe would be something that you would think would be more likely, they did life to try to deter a pardon from happening. Oh, he pardoned someone that was so bad he deserved life sentence. Wouldn't surprise me if we found out that that was the motivation behind it. But yeah, let's hope he gets out. Let's hope Trump is able to.
Hope is not a strategy. There has to be a demand by the American people that Edward Kelly be released. Now, I'm going to D.C. in a couple of weeks. We're going to go to D.C. in a couple of weeks. And I'm going to go there and I'm going to fight for Edward Kelly. And I'm not going to be like Jake Lang and run around like some retard screaming and yelling and trying to create something that's just not true or create some sort of flamboyancy to it. There's no flamboyantness necessary in this at all. The only thing that we have to do right now is that we have to focus in on what is reasonable. And it's not reasonable that a man who is literally broken, Jeremy is broken. Here's a guy that you built up and made a warrior. And then you broke him and took everything from him. And the amount of betrayal that he feels now a second time is pretty dramatic. So do the right thing, Mr. President, and release Jeremy Kelly. Don't even ask questions about it. And then give him the help that he needs so that he can heal from that betrayal. That's all I got.
Yeah, and whoever is around him should not allow him to have a phone for at least a while after he gets out. This guy is just going to keep hurting himself until he gets the help that he needs. There's no doubt about that. I don't think he's going to hurt anyone else, but he's going to keep hurting himself, and so he really desperately needs help.
Yeah. Actually, Jeff, he did not plead guilty. It was a several-day trial. He did not plead guilty. There was a several-day trial in November of 2024. Okay. Let's pray, shall we?
We shall.
All right. Father God, thank you for, we talk about all the things that are happening in our country that are bad, but there are some amazing blessings that have come out of even the last 4 years. We have relationships that, man, I personally would never give up. We have strengthened our bonds with people within our family, and we have learned so much over the last 5 years. We've learned about patience and resilience. We've learned about courage, and we've learned about the Spirit and just how strong we can be in order to see past and get past all the obstacles that they put in front of us. Father, there's some other great things that we've actually been able to accomplish, and that is that we've been closer to pushing you into a place where we have restored you to our community and to our country. And much of the blessings that we're seeing happen, we take for granted because there is a fixation on the problem. And I'm guilty of that myself. I so much want a system, Father, that is focused entirely on the integrity of the voice of the people. And I don't just want it for people in the United States. I want it for people all over the world. I want people in other countries to have free and fair elections. I want for the elected leaders to be those people who feel an obligation to return to the community and listen to what the people need, while also recognizing that they have to make hard choices. Many of those hard choices in this big, beautiful bill related to getting rid of certain aspects or fees or commitments that we had while assigning a greater value or task to things that we needed to push towards, like secure borders and keeping people in the country safe. Father, but we can't look past all of the blessings that we've had and the wins that we've had while looking at the things that we wish we could change. And one of those things, Father, is Edward Kelly, a man that you can tell is absolutely broken. And Father, yesterday I was arguing with a guy on Facebook, and he was using words like "you're a fascist" and "you're," and I wanted to get mad at him, but I just let him punch it out. I let him just go on and on and on and on. And we know that people are hurting, Father, and we know they're hurting for different reasons. And a lot of times we sit around and we come up with this thing that somewhere along the line, everything's bad. And we just know it's not. Rain is wet, the sky is blue, the sun will shine and bring us light. And we know, Father, that at the end of it, we will be able to be with you. And so I ask you to be with Edward Kelly. I ask you to comfort him and to lift the burdens off his heart, to lift the anger that he feels, and to give him the ability to come to a place of peace. I ask you, Father, to bless our leaders that they can do the right things, and that we can stop using kabuki theater and all of this craziness as the monicum for what our society should look like. That we abandon our TikTok moments and we create an opportunity where Americans can feel like they have a voice. This is a lot to ask for, Father. And I know that our leaders, they are good leaders, but more importantly, we know that with the things you're able to do, you can guide them in a place where we can have peace. And have not just peace when we walk outside our door, but peace in our hearts. So, Father, I just ask you that as you go through this 4th of July weekend, that you can bless us with the ability to maybe just take a break and take a deep breath and be grateful for all the things that you have given us, while recognizing the things that we must still work towards in order to create success for our children, grandchildren, and to ultimately have eternal life. I say these things, Father, humbly. We say these things humbly. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
Sorry, I got into a prayer, that one. That was all the stuff I wanted to pray about.
I secretly enjoy the days when it's your turn to pray, because you always have a way of doing it that I think is really good.
I love the Lord. And I think that at some point, I do want to get back to a place where we can start working the problem without the people being the problem. And with all the bluster we talk about things left, right, and we do have to get to a place where we acted like the man whose wife was under ISIS control. Hey, look, I'm still going to support President Trump, but we still have to recognize.
Oh no, the pun that was an even worse accidental pun. Under ISIS control,
ISIS
the Iranian under ISIS control, is that?
Got me. Yeah. All right, hey guys, I want you to have we have an amazing interview that we're going to publish tomorrow. That's going to be with Brendan. It is a raw interview; nothing is cut out, and I think it's a couple hours. You'll be able to have that tomorrow at 2:00. We won't be there. We'll be barbecuing. Hopefully you'll be barbecuing with us on the big screen. Just get out the balloon deal and watch us on the big screen. Hit the share button. Go to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. If you're on the BEK network or any of the radio stations, we want to thank you for listening to us. You can find us on Rumble, find us on YouTube sometimes. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on all these different channels. And you can find us on untamednation.com. We're there 5 days a week. Go over, give us a 5-star review, share it with your friends, and give us your feedback. And other than that, have a great weekend. We love you, and we are grateful to have you with us every day. Take care.